Remember this P0355 is set because of a circuit failure. Does that mean the coils are bad? How can we test them?
Now we know that cylinder number 5 is contributing the least to power. So I'm going to test 5, but on this bank of the engine, which is the easy access, we have 4, 5, and 6, 5 being the middle one. So I'm going to start the engine, and then we're going to test these coils. With this coil on plug quick test, all we really have to do is lay this on the coil, and you'll see these two lights light up. One is that it's being commanded on, and the other one is that you've got sufficient kV. So I'm going to go to cylinder number 4 first and lay it right on top, and you can see my red and green light. So that tells me that coil is being commanded on and firing, and I have sufficient kV. Then I'm going to go to cylinder number 5. It is firing sufficient kV. And number 6. Now you know our tools just keep getting better and more technical. Well, this is an early on tool. It still works, and it'll tell you if that coil is firing, but it won't tell you how well. For that, we need waveforms. And for that, I use this GTC 505, which is a simple and very fast waveform generator. As you can see, it's going to show the waveform. So let's look at that. Now, it's very easy to use. All you have to do is put this wand, the tip, on the coil, and it'll show the waveform. So I'm going to put it down there, and you'll see the waveform. Now, this is a current ramp. I'm going to show you that you can change this. I'm on a current ramp, but I want to go to burn time. So I'm going to cycle back to burn time. Now you can see my waveform. Now this is what we call a triple strike coil. The ignition actually fires that coil 3 times in a row. You can see 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to go to cylinder number 5. And you can see I'm still firing 3 times. So where the other tool just simply told me it was being commanded on, and I had good kV, it doesn't tell me anything about the burn time. And when I go to cylinder number 6, I still have good control of that coil. Now you may not know a lot about waveforms and current ramps and everything like that. That's a whole other topic in itself. But I'm using this to show me that those coils are being fired, but they're not being controlled by the PCM. Now remember earlier, the PCM was not doing its job to control air fuel. It was not doing anything with the short term. So our computer definitely has a problem inside it, but so do these coils. Now a very common thing is for coils, if they go bad, to burn out the driver that's in the PCM. Because the PCM is what turns these coils on and off.
The coils are being commanded on, and they have sufficient kV. So why does the power balance test show cylinder number 5 not contributing to power? Because the PCM turned the injector off when it set the code P0355. For full power, the cylinder needs good spark kV, and it needs fuel. So why are we showing coil control and good kV? So do you remember this part? The diagnostic code sets when the PCM does not receive a valid ignition diagnostic monitor pulse signal from the ignition module, which is integrated inside the PCM. That module is inside the PCM, and that part of the circuitry is damaged. But obviously the PCM can still command the coil on, it just can't monitor it.
Now the fix for this car is we need to change the coils that have not been changed. Remember, the customer told me they went to someone else and they changed the 2 coils on this side, but not number 5. And because of this engine, you have to take the plenum off to get to the other coils. They did not change the coils on this side. So because the computer is not working, we're going to have to change the computer, but I don't want to put a new computer in it and then have bad coils just burn out the new computer. So we're going to change the coils first, put a new computer in it, program the computer, and that should take care of our problem. Now we've got the computer replaced. It's been reprogrammed. We started the car. It's running. and our engine is now smooth. There's no misfire that we can feel. Now let's look at the engine data on the scanner and see if it's responding. Now our engine's running at idle, and as we look, we've got O2 sensors, bank 1 and 2, short-term 1 and 2, and long-term 1 and 2. So let's look first at bank 1. You can see our oxygen sensor is now switching. We're reading going above and below 500 millivolts, and our short-term is adjusting now, going from 0 to 2. If you look at bank 2, it's the same way. Although this oxygen sensor is switching a little faster than this one, maybe a little bit more aged over here. But I'm going to give it some gas now and accelerate. We should see our oxygen sensor go rich and our short-term fuel trim adjust. So our O2 sensor went rich and the short-term fuel trim took the fuel away, because since I was adding it, it did not need to. Now the fuel's backed off and our O2 is going lean or rich again. You can see the same thing on this bank. Now to make this a little bit more distinct, I'm out in front of the engine, got my scanner still set up in the same settings, and I'm going to create a big vacuum leak, and you should be able to see that on the scanner. To create the air leak, you can see my oxygen sensor suddenly go very lean, and my short term now is adding fuel on both banks. So the short term is adjusting to that air leak. I take away the air leak, we suddenly go rich, and you can watch the computer start taking fuel away to try and balance the air-fuel mixture again. It's going to keep pulling fuel away until the oxygen sensor starts switching again. Now the oxygen sensor is switching, and the computer should be trying to keep that very close to 0. So before, when we looked at the oxygen sensor, we could see that it was lean and we could drive it rich. And no matter what happened, the computer did not adjust. So the computer was not doing its job. And now you can see with the new computer and if it's programmed, whenever we go lean or rich, the computer is now continuing to balance fuel, and it either takes away or adds fuel as needed, and we can see the evidence of that on the scanner.